What do you think the liturgical calendar of modern man is? It's kind of a funny question. What's a liturgical calendar for those who don't know, right? So in the Orthodox Church has a liturgical calendar. Every day, every week, every month, every year, there's a cycle. There's a cycle of things we celebrate, feasts and fasts, for example, but it even happens every day. Every day there are prayers that monks do at certain times of the day, the 3rd hour, the 6th hour, the 9th hour, matins and vespers, all this kind of stuff. Certain prayers that correspond to the certain needs of certain times of the day. Also certain events that happened in the crucifixion of Christ. This is what happened to him at the 3rd hour or the 6th hour, and we'll have prayers about those. That's what happens at a daily basis. On a weekly basis, obviously, not just Orthodox Christians, but even Protestants, right? They celebrate Sunday as a day of the resurrection. That's why we go to church on Sunday. Wednesday and Friday, they're days of fasts. Why are they days of fasting? Because on the week of his betrayal, well, Wednesday is the day Christ was betrayed by Judas, and Friday is the day of his crucifixion. So we honor that in fasting on those days. That's something that happens every week. And there are other days of the week that have certain prayer. For example, Monday, I believe, it might be Tuesday, but I believe it's Monday, is a day for commemorating the angels and the bodiless hosts. Things like this. So there's a weekly cycle, and of course there's a yearly cycle. There are saints' days nearly every day. Well, actually every day there's some kind of saint, maybe very minor. And there are there's of course Easter, the Feast of Feasts. There's Christmas. There's the Dormition of the Mother of God. There's the Apostles' Feast. All of those are preceded by fasts to get you ready for these events. And so if you're living in an Orthodox Christian society, obviously every year, any part of the cycle, there is a mood to how things are. In Lent, it might be a little somber, you know? There might be more repentance. There might be more, a little, not necessarily sadness, but there's anticipation for something exciting to come. And this is the mood of the society. And everyone is on the same page. Everyone knows, for example, you don't want to be too, extreme, exorbitant, maybe too, I don't know why words are lacking me, too excited in Lent, too indulgent in Lent, obviously. You don't want to do that, Either way, what is modern man's liturgical calendar? I've explained what a liturgical calendar is. And I've come to believe that, obviously, people in America, they have holidays, right? Barely any. They have like 2 or 3 holidays. The Calvinists got rid of most of the liturgical calendar. That's why America doesn't have these things. We basically have Christmas, even though it's really about presents now. And we basically have Thanksgiving. For those who don't know, who aren't American, Thanksgiving is a very important holiday for Americans. It's where they celebrate them being allowed to be off work for 2 days in a row in a week. That's amazing. That's unheard of in America. Sometimes even 3. If you in certain jobs, you have 3 days off. It's very rare in America. That's what Thanksgiving's all about. And then Halloween, of course, it's the day you dress your little boys up as serial killers, and you dress your little girls up like strippers, and then they ask for candy. That's basically the state, unfortunately, of Halloween nowadays. Now, but that's not the liturgical. That's not the same thing. These are just days that happen. They're not actually that important to American society, but also the West in general. What really is the liturgical calendar? And here's what I think. When I think about what is the thing that got me excited when I was a kid, with anticipation for things to happen in the future, I have to say, when I was 7 years old, it would have to be the products I looked forward to consuming. And what I mean by that is I would have been so excited if you told me, and of course people did tell me, there's going to be a Star Wars Episode 1. It's coming out. It's going to be great. It's going to be everything you've always thought about. Like, what's going to happen in Star Wars? Now you're going to know. It's going to come out. Remember whichever date that's coming out. That's going to be the big day. And all of society, it's not specifically about Star Wars, but it's about these kind of consumeristic events. All of society, they don't have a liturgical calendar in the way that the church does, but they get excited for these kind of events. That is the anticipation. You're counting down the days into the release of the next movie you want to see in a long series of sequels. It's definitely not going to be the same. It's going to be totally different. It's going to be way better. That's the thing you're looking forward to. And you're going to be disappointed. Maybe sometimes you won't be. you were disappointed with Star Wars Episode 1 and then 2 and 3 and all the other ones. But, that is the thing that people look forward to as a community, not just as individuals. That's important to remember. It's not just the one person is sitting up for this. It's that you go out in public, right? You go out in public, and instead of seeing people decorating for Lent, preparing for Easter, decorating for Christmas, something like that, throughout a whole season, you see ads all over the place for the next product. Maybe it's the next iPhone, And that I really think it's not as organized. But I think that, unfortunately, is how most people are now oriented. That's how I was oriented as a child. It's been a long time. I mean, looking back at it, it's now very clear. That's the stuff I was excited about. I wasn't excited. I mean, sure, I was excited to get stuff on Christmas, but, not really for Christmas itself. There is a feel. There's a Germanic feel to Christmas. Something nice about it. Even Christmas in America, to this day, I think still has it. A little bit of it. There's something, I don't know, something wintry about it. Something cute, but that's not really what people are looking forward to then. Unfortunately, it's just getting stuff. And the consumerist culture we live in, that's all what it's about, So we have these things because we don't have what we should have. We don't actually have a real liturgical calendar. We don't have people looking forward to an excitement. And not just on a yearly basis. Again, remember, there are certain times of day, there are certain days of the week that we have totally lost the spiritual importance of them. And now instead, our new liturgical calendar in America, I mean, listen, this is not automatic. It doesn't always happen like this. But obviously in America and most other Western countries, you work Monday through Friday. You get Sunday and Saturday off. Okay? Why? I mean, that's an accident of history. We think of it as just how things have always worked, where it's not. In the Roman Empire, that's not necessarily how things worked. In other societies, it isn't either. Obviously, a lot of modern societies have acclimated to the way that Westerners have of doing things, the kind of calendar we have. But the world itself, we all want to be on the same page. We all want to look forward to things in anticipation. In our spiritual vacuity, our lack of, a true liturgical calendar, we substitute that. Or we substitute something else for that, something that's a pale representation that's not really going to have people excited for the future. I mean, it'll have people excited for the future. It'll always have you excited for the future, and you'll always be disappointed. And, unfortunately, that's how it is. It puts your faith, it puts your consciousness, your nous in something that is just going to be disappointed, because ultimately it is not some collective or spiritual or traditional thing. It's something that's ephemeral. It's something made by a corporate boardroom. That's not the new release of an iPhone, where the iPhone is finally undoing some error they did a while ago, or the new release of some video game, or the new release of yada yada yada. Who cares? This now defines our entire society. I remember what it's like, and sometimes I do get sucked in to some event like this. I mean, people get sucked into even elections. Not to say they're not totally devoid of meaning, but there's a spiritual trap there, where you're getting, you're often being engaged in something you don't have control over. That's not actually for your spiritual benefit, but for your spiritual deficit, and that's what consumerism is. It's a new religion. It's a new liturgical calendar that has you celebrating the next product coming out. And when you put it that way, there are a lot of people who denigrate religion, and at the same time, they're a member of the most pathetic religion ever. The religion of modernity, the religion of consumerism. They might even say they hate capitalism, but that's their religion, That's what they live and breathe. That's what they look forward to. That's all of their life, That I will say, I hope you don't look at things that way. And the good news is, if you look at things that way, you're wrong. And you should be excited that you're wrong. And that is not the liturgical calendar you should be following. You should really be following the liturgical calendar of the Orthodox Church. I mean, that's where it is, but that's not really the point I have of this video. It's really just that our new religion is dangerous. The new religion of modernity. And make no mistake, it is a religion. That's what it is. Because, religion, ultimately, people say, obviously the Latin word is a binding. That's what the word originally means. It binds a society together. It has them celebrating together mourning together. When they're told to mourn, they mourn. When they're told to celebrate, they celebrate. When they're told to look forward to the next product to consume, they look forward to the next product to consume. And that is a religion. And they're much more organized. They're much more religious than, unfortunately, most Orthodox Christians. We're not quite as religious as they are sometimes. But in fact, unfortunately, we get caught up in those things too. So, I know I have. I lived my life like that for a long time, and it's still a temptation. But that's something for you to think about. Just think about every day, every week, every month. What really are you looking forward to? What really are the events that define, your life? What are you waiting for? Are you just waiting for something to happen? Are you just waiting for some kind of event, some kind of new product? Because that isn't quite how it should be. Let's just say that.